The story begins with our protagonist introducing himself as Toru Iban. He explains that he is part of an S-rank party led by the hero Sane. Good thing in his party, they are all childhood besties who support each other and have vowed to achieve great things together. One day, Toru is shocked to learn that he has been kicked out of the party. Confused and hurt, he watches as his childhood friends, people he had always considered like family, gather in a tavern to deliver this heartbreaking news. Nervously, Toru asks if this is some kind of sick joke or misunderstanding. Sane, the blonde leader, then replies softly, begging Toru to understand, and says he would be very sad to watch his best friend die. Still trying to process the news, Toru's girlfriend and soon-to-be wife agrees with Sane. She says she's sure Toru will die any moment now, and then points out the huge level gap between him and the rest of the team. Shocked, Toru turns to look at her and suddenly notices something strange about the ring on her finger. It's not the one he gave her. Frozen in disbelief, Toru glances at the rest of the team, Ni and Sora, and realizes none of the girls are standing up for him. That's when a crushing realization hits him. Sane had been pounding all the girls on the team, and they saw Toru as a hindrance to their fun. Toru finally realized that his so-called best friend Makanaki had been sleeping with his fiancée all along. Toru couldn't stomach the disgust he felt at that moment. Furious, Toru screamed and punched the useless Banglord right in his stupid face. The confrontation escalated as Toru angrily pummeled Sane's face with blows, while the freak just smirked, unremorseful. But just then, Ni screamed at Toru to stop the assault and then kicked him to the wall. As the fight stopped, Lisa called Toru a scum, while Ni and Sora looked at him with disgust. With anger in her voice, Lisa yelled that she doesn't want anything to do with Toru and demanded he stay far away from them. Emotionally broken, Toru left the party and walked away alone in the rain. On the deserted road, Toru cried bitterly, struggling to catch his breath while feeling like his heart was about to burst. After calming down, he reflects on his situation and thinks about the future. Checking his status screen, he sees that he has many skills, but all of them are useless. Toru also notices that his mysterious saving system skill remains unknown, even to experts, making it practically unusable. Comparing his low level to that of his former party members, Toru realizes he's nothing but a nuisance and wishes he had a skill as strong as Sane. Suddenly, a monstrous black demon dog appears before him. As the demon dog attacks, Toru charges toward the beast with his sword. After a fierce battle, he defeats it. Suddenly, Toru's ability breaks completely. His saving experience skill activates automatically, flooding his vision with multiple system notifications as his experience reaches dangerous levels. His skill levels rapidly increase to a whopping level 300, releasing all his stored power in one massive explosion. Now everything makes sense to Toru. He realizes that his saving experience skill is an automatic ability that only unleashes its power once it has accumulated enough experience to reach a predetermined level. Reflecting, Toru now understands why, despite trying harder than anyone else in the party, he still couldn't level up. Laughing maniacally, Toru decides he's going to travel the world from now on. With that, he declares he'll start by visiting neighboring countries. Soon, Toru arrives at the border town of Livio in Armand. Walking through the bustling streets, he suddenly stops when he spots a slave store on the side of the road. He remembers his former party members and feels he needs a partner he can trust. So a slave would be perfect since a slave won't betray him. Walking inside the slave store, the well-dressed proprietor welcomes Toru warmly, asking what he can do for him today. Toru tells the man he needs a slave to take into battle, but mentions his budget is low. The merchant then opens a curtain and asks Toru to follow him. Inside, Toru spots a malnourished blonde girl in a cage looking distressed, which catches his interest. However, the merchant explains that the slave girl is very sick. Even so, Toru approaches the cage and asks her name, and the girl weakly responds, saying her name is Keed. Smiling, Toru declares he will buy her, and just like that, he leaves with her on his back. Their first stop is a medical facility, where the doctor informs Toru that Keed is suffering from a rare disease affecting beast people. When Toru asks what can be done to cure it, the doctor explains that treatment requires a potion made from the heart of a dragon. With that, Toru heads into the deep forest to find the heart of a dragon. As he walks through the woods, he suddenly sees a massive black dragon overhead and wastes no time confronting the dragon. He freezes at the sight of the towering monster, but as he remembers his sick slave waiting for him, his resolve hardens. Defiantly, Toru challenges the dragon to fight him. The dragon launches a devastating tail attack, creating massive destruction across the landscape, but Toru narrowly avoids the blast. As the beast opens its mouth to chew him up, Toru gets cold feet again. At that moment, he remembers his former party teammates. He vows never to be like those backstabbers and to never leave his people behind. When the dragon responds with another powerful attack, mouth wide open, Toru strikes back with his sword, slashing off the beast's head. The massive beast falls defeated, creating a huge impact crater. Standing victorious, Toru reflects on the power that comes with being level 300. Later, back at an inn, Toru gives Keed medicine, telling her to drink it as it will make her feel better. Gratefully, the slave girl asks if he did this for her, and Toru confirms he got the ingredients and asked the old man at the pharmacy to create the medicine. After taking the medicine, Keed is put to bed to rest while Toru sits nearby, watching over her. Observing her condition, Toru notes it looks better, and it seems the medicine is working as she sleeps peacefully. Reflecting on the situation, Toru admits he has seen more power in himself than he ever thought possible and decides that from now on, he must fight with caution, aware of the dangers that lie ahead. The next morning, Toru wakes up surprised to find Keed sleeping on the couch close to him. Carrying a box, he heads to the local bakery and asks the chef to prepare something for him. When the chef asks if the meat he brought is pork, Toru shocks him by revealing it's dragon meat. Shortly after, the chef prepares a delicious dish using the dragon meat, dragon steak and a hamburger. Toru takes a bite of the dragon steak and finds it delicious. Later, Toru takes some of the food to Keed in bed but finds her already awake and sitting up. While they eat, Toru mentions they will need to do something about her clothes. With Keed feeling better, he takes her to a convenience store and buys her a nice, trendy outfit. Afterwards, Toru decides to take her to the weapon store to get a weapon. Keed chooses 2 iron fans, which Toru thinks are a bit too large for someone her small stature. However, Keed quickly proves him wrong by performing a remarkable stunt with the weapons, shocking Toru and demonstrating her skill to wield them. Afterwards, they roam the street, and Toru catches Keed staring intently at snacks lined up at a street kiosk. He walks over and asks if she wants some. At first, Keed denies it, but then gives in, saying she would love some. Toru buys snacks for her, which makes Keed very happy, and she thanks her master cheerfully. However, Toru asks her not to call him master, which makes Keed emotional, thinking he wants to get rid of her. Toru then pats her head and reassures her that he isn't going to abandon her. He tells her he wants her to be by his side until the end of his life. Keed gets excited and vows to do anything for him as her master, and then they both laugh off the embarrassing moment together. Following that, Toru suggests Keed cut off her bangs. Keed agrees but points out she will need a pair of scissors to do it herself. Suddenly, Toru feels an intense surge of energy coursing through his body and wonders what it could be. Toru stares at his hand in shock as a powerful surge of electricity radiates from it. Keed watches her master with a frightened expression, unsure of what is happening to him. Suddenly, multiple system notifications flood Toru's vision in rapid succession. His skills have reached their maximum level and are being repaired. Another alert appears, announcing that his skill limit has been broken and new abilities, such as experience multiplier and magic lending, have been unlocked. Shocked, Toru studies his hands as intense energy pulses through his body, wondering how much power he has gained from this recent awakening. Meanwhile, Keed nervously stumbles back, scared for her life. After the intense power awakening, Toru turns and apologizes for scaring Keed, explaining that his skills just gave him more power and then asks if she's all right. Keed replies that she's fine and adds that her master is a great man, which makes Toru blush deeply. His status screen reveals that all his skills have upgraded to level 50. Confused, Toru wonders what's happening and why his skill levels suddenly jumped, since they used to be around level 10. However, he notices there are still 2 saving skills left and wonders what will happen when those activate. Following that, Toru asks Keed if there's anything she wants. Startled, Keed hesitates, unsure how to respond. Toru notices her nervousness and gently tells her she can speak freely. With that, Keed admits she just wants some soap. Shortly afterward, the pair arrives at a cozy inn with a large wooden bathtub. Keed looks a bit uncomfortable and asks Toru if it's okay for them to bathe together. Toru assures her it's fine, saying he has no interest in her scrawny body. Still, Keed looks uncertain about the arrangement but doesn't protest. Toru then tells her to sit down so he can wash her head first, but Keed reluctantly objects, saying she can't let her master do such work. When Toru insists it's an order, Keed obeys and sits. Toru gently washes her hair and notices her tail close to her cakes. He asks what breed she is, and she answers she's a fox. Suddenly, while washing her body, Toru accidentally touches her starter pack melons and both freak out. Toru immediately apologizes for the awkward moment, but Keed softly says she doesn't mind if that's what her master wants. They look at each other awkwardly, But before things get more flustered, Toru flicks her forehead with his finger, causing Keed to scream in pain. While walking out of the bathroom, Toru turns and tells her that he'll think about her offer when God decides to give her a larger cup size. After the awkward bath time, Keed sits properly and cuts off the bangs covering her face, while explaining to Toru that they tend to get out of control. Toru watches her as she trims her hair and realizes he didn't know she was so beautiful in her cleaned-up state. Later that night, as they prepare to go to bed, Keed smiles peacefully and says she had a good time that day. Toru looks at her warmly and replies that he really hopes they'll have more fun the following day. The next day, Toru walks into the inn looking frustrated. When Keed asks what's wrong, he explains that the old man at the store got angry and charged him a lot of money for sword repairs. Confused, Keed asks for more details. Toru shows her his broken sword and explains his current problem. He narrates that the day before, while cleaning his blade, it suddenly broke. So he went to the weapon shop looking for a new sword. The merchant gave him the sturdiest sword in the store, but just as he picked up the blade and tested its weight, the sword also broke, surprising both him and the shopkeeper. After hearing his plight, Keed excitedly declares she has the perfect weapon for her master. With that, she takes Toru to a magnificent ancient temple with towering columns and tells him it is the Temple of the Sacred Arms. The Temple of the Sacred Arms holds legendary weapons reserved only for chosen heroes worthy of wielding them. Climbing the grand stairs, Toru, skeptical, admits he has no idea if he can pull a weapon from the temple, but Keed reassures him, confident that he can. Inside, Toru marvels at the vastness of the temple. Keed explains the temple was said to be built by the gods, and that there are 2 steps to claim a sacred weapon. First, to open the locked door, and second, to remove the weapon from its pedestal. Standing before a massive, ornate door without a handle, Toru wonders how he's supposed to open it. Keed then suggests he try touching the door. When he does, the door slowly opens with dramatic force. Keed excitedly congratulates Toru, telling him he has passed the first step. As they walk deeper inside the sacred chamber, Toru stares in surprise at the legendary sacred sword embedded in its pedestal. He notes that it's a one-handed weapon and remembers the legend that the sacred arms change size and shape to adapt to their chosen owner. Wasting no time, Toru grips the sword's handle and tries to pull it from the pedestal. The blade gleams with divine power as mystical energy swirls around him. With incredible effort, he successfully extracts the sword, and Keed congratulates him on the achievement. Toru blushes, admitting that without her knowledge of the temple, he would have been left weaponless. But Keed disagrees, proudly saying her master would have come here eventually since he's the chosen one. Toru becomes flustered by the compliment, recalling how rarely he received praise, even from his former girlfriend, Lisa. Excited, Keed asks if they can now go on adventures together, and Toru says yes. Standing outside the temple, Toru announces that when they reach the city, they'll form a group and make their debut as adventurers. Meanwhile, in a lavish tavern room, Toru's former party members are caught up in a wild fiesta frenzy. The excitement runs deep until Lisa screams that she can't take it anymore, forcing Sane to pause for a moment. Reflecting on the situation with Toru, Sane calls him an idiot for not understanding what was really going on. According to Sane, he and Lisa had been clapping for a long time, but Toru never realized it. Shockingly, it's revealed that Lisa and the other girls never truly cared for Sane. Instead, Sane possesses a rare skill called the Demonic Eye of Lure, a powerful charm ability that manipulates the emotions and desires of the opposite sex. Before all this, Lisa, Nii, and Sora had chosen Toru over Sane, making Sane furiously jealous of Toru's natural charisma with women. Fortunately or unfortunately, Sane acquired the perfect ability to fix his past mistakes. Lisa, who once refused to look at him, became infatuated with him after his power activated. In the present, Sane declares that he'll have to fight the Demon Lord like a true hero sooner or later, and he's glad he no longer has that dead weight holding him back. The Dark Demon Lord is a terrifying beast that appears once every 100 years, but Sane is confident he can defeat it. But first, he must obtain several sacred weapons to continue his mission. Though it will be a lot of work, Sane is ready, knowing the fame and fortune will be worth it. If luck favors him, he believes he'll gain a harem of princesses. Laughing maniacally, Sane declares this is the best life ever. His demonic powers have given him everything he ever wanted through manipulation and control. The next day, Sane's expression shifts to shock as he realizes the dragon has already been defeated. He wonders who could have eliminated the monster. An elderly man informs him that when his party investigated the forest, they found the creature was already dead. Outside, Sane angrily punches a tree. When the girls ask if he's upset, he denies it, insisting he's fine. Faking a smile, he suggests changing their plans and moving on, now that the city is at peace. Hours later, Sane shouts in disbelief that the sacred weapon is gone. Inside the temple, he panics at the sight of the empty pedestal where the legendary weapon once rested. Lisa tries to calm him down, but Sane angrily slaps her, warning her never to touch him again or she will be dead meat. Deep in thought, Sane realizes that ever since Toru left the group, things have taken a turn for the worse and wonders if Toru might somehow be responsible for all that's happening. Still, he refuses to believe it, convinced that the one he's up against must be someone stronger. Putting the pieces together, Sane suspects the person who defeated the dragon and the one who took the legendary sword are the same. Swearing to end that person's life if they ever meet, he announces to the girls that they will head to the dungeon at NTR'd immediately. Nearby, a man quietly smoking his life away overhears Sane mentioning the dungeon and tells him someone was there just last month. Shocked, Sane stares at the man, unable to believe the dungeon has already been cleared. It is then revealed that a month ago, in the bustling city of NTR'd, Toru successfully obtained his adventurer's card and is ready to begin his new career. He reflects that his previous party, White Fang, was an S-rank group, but now he's back to B-rank. As Toru and Keed walk through the bustling entertainment district of the city, Keed mentions she's heard there's a dungeon nearby. Toru confirms he's heard the same and suggests they check it out the next day to start their adventure. Before that, Toru asks Keed if she knows anything about the dungeon, and she admits she doesn't know much. Toru then gives her a course 1 to 0 to 1 about dungeons and why adventurers go there. Furthermore, he tells her about the core stone located at the bottom, a valuable and rare material that many seek. The next day, Toru and Keed stand before the massive dungeon entrance, and Toru suggests they only explore the first floor since Keed is still recovering. With excitement, the two enter the dungeon together, beginning their first official adventure as a team. Inside the dungeon corridors, the pair encounter their first monsters and Keed uses her wind cutter technique to slice through the attacking monster rats simultaneously. Watching Keed battle, Toru admits he knew she could use magic, but never expected her to be so impressive. After the fight, Keed checks her progress and mentions she's reached level 15 in just 1 hour of dungeon exploration. Toru is shocked by her rapid skill upgrade, but Keed says it must be because she's close to her master. Toru agrees, reasoning that his experience multiplier skill is also boosting her experience. They continue deeper into the dungeon and face 2 one-eyed attacking ogres. Keed swiftly takes them out by unleashing blizzard blossoms. The goblins freeze like popsicles and then shatter with a single strike. After the battle, Toru proudly praises Keed for handling all the monsters on the 3rd floor. But Keed insists that level 30 still isn't enough to be a proper rearguard and says she needs to get stronger for her master. Toru asks if she's not tired and suggests they've gathered enough materials for now, so it's time to head back home, to which Keed agrees. But as they prepare to leave the dungeon, they spot a rare item on the floor. Toru thinks it's trash, but Keed picks it up, revealing it to be a magic storage device for rare items with an incredible capacity of up to 100 items. Keed becomes excited about the discovery of the storage bag and insists they keep exploring the dungeon. However, Toru warns that they are running low on food and water and need to return to town soon. With a soft smile, Toru reassures Keed there is no need to rush, explaining that there are many ways to level up and improve her abilities. They activate the magical storage device by placing their sack of dungeon loot on top, and the item magically stores everything inside, showcasing incredible storage technology. Toru and Keed then make their way back through the dungeon corridors and exit into the bustling city streets. In a nearby cafeteria, Keed enthusiastically enjoys a delicious meal, happily commenting on how tasty the dish is. Meanwhile, Toru reflects on their successful day in the dungeon. They earned 120,000 coins from their adventure, marking an excellent first outing for Keed. Since Keed is enjoying the meal so much, Toru orders more food for the glutton using their dungeon exploration money. But Keed sweetly suggests they eat together, saying food tastes better when shared with someone special. Toru warmly accepts with a smile and thanks her. As they eat, Toru reflects on how meeting Keed has changed his life for the better. Since finding her, each day they spend together gets better and better. Under the starry night sky, Toru feels that if he continues this peaceful journey with his cute slave, he can finally fill the emptiness in his heart. The next morning, Keed urgently wakes Toru. Groggy, Toru wakes and asks what's wrong. As he slowly opens his eyes, he notices Keed's pimple-sized melons have suddenly become fuller. His eyes widen as he realizes Keed's appearance has somehow changed overnight while she was sleeping. Shocked, Toru asks if she's really Keed. Smiling, Keed confirms with a yes. Confused, Toru asks why she looks like Cardi B now, and Keed replies she just woke up that way. Toru can't wrap his head around the fact that yesterday Keed was just a pretty young girl, but now she's packing more cakes behind her than a bakery. When Toru wonders how this transformation happened, Keed explains she thinks it's due to her sudden level increase. Toru asks what she means by that, and Keed explains that when a youngster rises beyond level 20, their body rapidly grows overnight to balance out their increased power. Even so, Toru admits he didn't expect her to become such a beauty overnight and realizes he can't treat her like a child anymore. He covers his eyes and asks why she's naked. Keed nervously shows him that her clothes tore during the transformation. Toru then hands her his shirt, and Keed tries on the oversized garment. She says it looks a little big for her, and Toru agrees while pointing out that she'll also need to put on pants too. With that, Toru takes her to a nearby clothing store and picks out a nice outfit that highlights her juicy curves. Walking through the busy city streets, Toru and Keed draw attention from passing men. Toru notices how really pretty his slave girl is, while a passerby comments on the beautiful woman in the city, saying he'd love to have a slave like her. As they head toward the dungeon, Keed assures Toru she will earn a lot of money for him as well. However, Toru tells her he still has some money left over from when he defeated the dragon, and says they'll just focus on leveling her up for now, which makes Keed really excited. Soon after, the pair enter the grand dungeon with towering stone architecture. Suddenly, hordes of skeleton warriors emerge from the shadows, charging forward with weapons raised. Keed quickly launches her devastating attack called Aerial Blast, and the powerful wind magic sends all the skeletons flying through the air. The rest of the undead aren't spared as Keed activates magical circles and launches spear daggers at them, scattering their bones all over the place. After the complete annihilation, Keed excitedly tells Toru that they did it. Toru, impressed, agrees. Lost in thought, Toru notes Keed's current level is now 50, and since the level needed for the 4th floor is only 15, the battles are so easy that he's getting sleepy. Keed notices Toru looking tired and asks if he's sleepy. Toru denies it at first, but then explains that since he woke up very early that morning, he's a little sleepy. Keed smiles and then kneels, gently patting her thighs to indicate she wants Toru to use them as pillows. Hesitantly, Toru agrees to rest a little. As he lays his fat head on her thighs, he notices how good she smells and thinks to himself that he will definitely have a sound sleep. A few hours later, Toru snaps back to consciousness and nervously thanks Keed. Looking around, he sees scattered bones of the undead and asks Keed what happened while he was asleep. Keed explains that the undead attacked during his nap, but she immediately dealt with them. Impressed, Toru notes she defeated the skeletons without even moving a muscle. Then he asks about her stats, but quickly adds that it's okay if she doesn't want to show him. Excited, Keed says she'd be happy to show him since she's his property, and then opens her status screen for Toru to check. Looking at her list of skills, Toru notices these are typical mage skills, especially the Power Boost, a rare ability every famous mage should have. After seeing Keed's impressive stats, Toru realizes she's going to be a big star. With no doubts left about her skills, he suggests they continue exploring the dungeon. Toru asks if she wants to go deeper, and Keed eagerly agrees as long as her master is okay with it. As the pair enter the 10th floor of the dungeon, they are suddenly attacked by vicious monsters, orcs, cursed skeletons, and minotaurs. Keed wastes no time launching her devastating aerial slash attack, cutting through multiple enemies at once. With the foes dealt with, Keed celebrates, noting that thanks to leveling up, her magic strength increases faster than the amount she uses. Suddenly, multiple shadow creatures emerge to attack them. Keed unleashes another powerful aerial attack, sending sharp wind blades through the air. The devastating gust obliterates all the goblin riders who were supposed to be pretty strong opponents. When they arrive at the 20th floor of the dungeon, they decide to rest and cook over a campfire. While they eat, Toru asks Keed what level she is now. She answers 150. Smiling, Keed compliments her master's soup, making Toru blush hard. Changing the topic, Toru asks if there are any tricks to utilizing magic. Keed says yes and explains that the most important thing is the image. She adds that if someone knows a spell well, they can use it under various conditions. Amazed, Toru imagines a flame and conjures a small one. But suddenly, his flame flickers weakly in his hand, and Toru complains that magic is quite difficult. However, Keed assures him that with constant practice, he will surely improve. Before long, the duo ventured deeper into the 19th floor when suddenly a massive Cyclops and an undead knight emerge and attack. Toru shouts for Keed to watch out as the monsters charge. Meanwhile, Keed calmly focuses her magic and unleashes a freezing spell, trapping both creatures in ice. The frozen monsters stand motionless like statues throughout the dungeon chamber. Relieved, Toru thinks to himself that she's already leveled 200 and wonders why he was still worrying about her. Finally, they reach the 30th floor and enter a vast chamber filled with magical floating crystals and mysterious dark pools scattered across the floor. Toru mentions that he can't sense any enemies and encourages Keed not to let her guard down. Looking ahead, Toru notices a strange, glowing, floating object. As they move closer, Toru excitedly announces that it's the core and says it looks like they've reached the end. Keed cheers in the background, celebrating that they completed the dungeon. Standing before the glowing dungeon core, Toru hurriedly suggests Keed should touch it since he didn't do much this time. But Keed declines, saying it's thanks to her master that they made it this far. Gratefully, Toru thanks her and starts to move closer to the core. As he places his hand on the core, he reflects on how he has always dreamed of completing a dungeon since he was a young boy and wonders what kind of reward they will get. Suddenly, ancient symbols appear, glowing brightly as the reward for completing their first dungeon materializes before their eyes. Suddenly, Keed calls out to her master with concern. Toru wakes up, confused about what happened. Keed asks him to look up, and when he does, he realizes they are at the bottom of a hole. Apparently, the dungeon has disappeared after they cleared it. Confused, Toru wonders where the dungeon could have possibly gone. Meanwhile, Keed notices the ring on her master's finger and asks if he wore that ring before. Toru examines the mysterious ring and wonders if it's some kind of reward for clearing the dungeon. Keed mentions she has the exact same ring on her finger too. Suddenly, multiple reward notifications appear before them, congratulating them for traversing the Luntata labyrinth. According to the notifications, the first Fast Clear privilege grants them a ring of disguise, while the second Fast Clear privilege awards them a dungeon permit. Looking at the ring of disguise, Keed realizes it seems to have the power to conceal their status. Toru agrees, noting that both rings are high level and could prove very useful. Following that, Toru suggests they leave the dungeon as soon as possible, and Keed agrees. However, she's skeptical about whether they can make it out of the deep hole. Catching Keed off guard, Toru carries her like a princess and leaps high toward the surface. As they near the top, Keed nervously tells Toru they can't make it and will fall. Toru quickly stops the fall by stomping his leg against the wall, propelling them upward. Fortunately, they reach the surface safely. Toru immediately suggests they get away before things get messy, and Keed agrees. 2 days after leaving the Luntata dungeon, Toru and Keed head to the city of NTR'd. On their way, they reach a massive structure built into towering cliffs. The ruins belong to an advanced civilization that once flourished here, created by the great races. Since they are on a long journey, Toru declares they can't miss visiting such places as the ruins hold a special kind of romance for him. While enjoying the sightseeing, Keed asks Toru if he has a name in mind for their party. Toru thinks deeply before suggesting they call themselves the Roaming Brigade. Keed then asks if the party will consist of just the two of them, to which Toru mentions that the number may increase later. Keed happily agrees, saying it's settled. As Toru is about to ask Keed how she became a slave, her fox ears suddenly twitch at a sound. Looking ahead, they see bandits on horseback speeding after a merchant's moving carriage. Urgently, Toru shouts that they must help and immediately chases after the bandits. It doesn't take long for Toru to catch up to the lead bandit and, with tremendous force, crash him to the ground. The other bandits are forced to halt their hot pursuit and demand to know who Toru is. The remaining bandits charge at him with murderous intent, but Toru calmly unleashes a powerful technique, sending all the attackers flying through the air with one devastating blow. 2 other bandits hiding in the bushes take advantage of Toru's distraction and shoot arrows at him. But Keed quickly intercepts the attack, deflecting the arrows with ease. Approaching the scared bandits, Keed declares they are no match for her and ends their lives instantly. Checking on the merchants in the carriage, Toru asks if everything is okay. A grateful, pretty young woman emerges, saying she doesn't know who Toru is, but thanks him for saving them in such a dangerous situation. She introduces herself as Marianta, daughter of Count Rhoda. In turn, Toru introduces himself as an adventurer, and Keed waves enthusiastically as she's presented as his slave. Just after the introduction, Marianta eagerly grabs Toru's hands, insisting he follow her to her mansion as a way to show her gratitude. Before Toru can respond, she drags him and Keed inside her carriage and they set off. Inside the carriage, Marianta suggests they stay at her mansion for the night. Nervously, Toru says he can't impose that much, but Marianta insists she's fine with it. Toru admits he doesn't mind, but asks what Keed thinks. Keed declares she'll go wherever her master goes. Looking ahead at a sprawling city with impressive architecture stretching across the landscape, Marianta announces they've arrived at NTR'd. They soon arrive at a magnificent mansion with elaborate gardens and fountains, showcasing wealth and nobility. Inside the luxurious entrance hall, a butler welcomes Toru. Toru looks around, impressed by the opulent surroundings. Marianta calls the butler Sebas and asks about the whereabouts of her father. With Marianta gone in search of her father, a maid with a Karen haircut approaches Toru and Keed. She introduces herself as Yorara, Marianta's personal servant, and says she will take them to their rooms. She shows Toru to his luxurious guest accommodations and politely asks him to enjoy his stay. The moment Yorara steps out, Toru bounces on the soft bed, delighted by its comfort. Suddenly, Marianta unexpectedly enters the room and asks if Toru is really excited now, catching him off guard. Marianta offers to show him around the city and asks if he's available. Embarrassed, Toru replies that he was just thinking of going outside. With that, they explore the ancient ruins and historical sites around the city. Walking through the city streets, Marianta points to a store and tells Keed it's known for delicious sweets. Keed gets excited and asks Toru if she can go, and Toru reluctantly agrees. With that, Marianta and Keed head off happily to the sweet shop, while Toru watches them with satisfaction, noticing how close they've become. After shopping for sweets, they return, happy from the experience. As they continue sightseeing, Marianta shows Toru a huge statue of her father, the lord of the city. She explains it was built by the townsfolk when her father was younger. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shakes violently. People scream, calling out that it's an earthquake. Before they can fully process what's happening, a massive creature bursts out from under the statue, completely shattering it to pieces. The monster's enormous tentacles begin terrorizing the peaceful streets, grabbing passers-by, including Marianta. Frantically, Toru screams Marianta's name, unable to believe what's happening. The tentacled beast, still gripping the civilians, heads back into the hole. Yorara runs toward the opening, desperate to save Marianta from the monster's grasp. Toru and Keed follow closely behind, and Toru asks to join her. As they all fall into the dark abyss, Yorara smiles confidently, appreciating the backup. When they hit the hard floor of the deep hole, Keed uses her magic to create a cushion, softening their landing. After which, she summons a glowing orb of light to illuminate their surroundings. Looking around, they see towering stone architecture and two giant ancient statues guarding the passageways. Toru wonders what this strange place could be. Yorara explains that it's an underground ruin, the very foundation upon which the city was built. Suddenly, Keed calls Toru's attention to the presence of mucus in the surroundings. They wonder if the mucus is from the monster that kidnapped Marianta, and think that if they follow the trail, they might catch up with it. With that, the team moves through the winding underground passages, following the mucus trail, ready for whatever dangers await them in the depths below. Using her animal instincts, Keed heightens her sense of smell to track Marianta's scent in the musty air. While running, Toru almost gets his head bitten off by a disgusting monster, but Yorara quickly stabs the creature's head to save him. Soon after, Keed announces that the scent is getting closer. They arrive at a foggy bridge with a giant closed door ahead. Suddenly, they are confronted by a group of disgusting horned creatures, and their leader praises Toru for making it this far into his domain. Laughing, the demons threaten to do terrible things to all the girls in Toru's team while mocking humans as really stupid. Keed then approaches Toru and says she will make a path for him. Without wasting time, Keed creates ice walls along the bridge, splitting the demons apart with precise strategy. Yorara urgently urges Toru to go save Marianta, while Keed insists he leave the rescue to them. Toru agrees, declaring he's counting on them as he charges forward with determination. A group of demons attacks Toru with murderous intent, but he strikes back with incredible force, sending them flying as his sacred sword cuts through them with devastating power. With a single punch, Toru shatters the closed door and faces the massive tentacled demon with Marianta and other citizens still trapped in its tentacles. The demon, with a garbage face and tangled beard like a bird's nest, grins widely and mocks Toru, calling him food for his pet. Toru coldly asks if the creature is responsible for all the chaos, and the monster confirms it. Toru demands to know the demon's motives for attacking the city. The demon smirks again and says that since Toru seems kind, he'll share a story. Before he can speak further, the demon flicks his finger, and Toru is immediately ensnared by his tentacles. As Toru struggles to free himself, the demon reveals that the city is connected underground to another, making it easy to defeat both. However, the creature explains that first, he must eliminate the lord of the city before continuing with his plan. Still struggling, Toru asks if the demon kidnapped Marianta to keep the count under control. The demon smirks and confirms it. He shows Marianta wrapped in his tentacles, completely at his mercy, and explains that taking a pretty girl hostage keeps the situation under control. With an evil laugh, the monster declares he will be the one to end Toru. Suddenly, Toru rips the tentacles apart with his sacred sword, freeing himself and boldly claimed to be the protector of the town. The monster is surprised to see Toru free. He curses and launches massive explosions throughout the chamber to keep Toru at bay. The monster threatens that if Toru gets any closer, he will ensure Toru becomes nothing but dust. Unrelenting, Toru moves forward. The monster growls, saying Toru made the wrong choice. He unleashes a magic circle, summoning multiple bombs that surround Toru. Activating its grenade splash ability, the demon triggers a series of explosions that shake the entire underground structure, sending debris flying. The demon laughs triumphantly, declaring humans can't survive such a devastating attack. To his utter shock, Toru stands firm amidst the rubble and asks if the monster is satisfied with the destruction. The demon cannot believe his eyes. He calls Toru a monster for surviving the powerful blast. He activates the grenade splash again, causing another massive explosion. Yet Toru walks steadily closer through the chaos like a gigachad. Frightened, the demon realizes Toru is the hero spoken of in prophecy. Before the monster can react, Toru slashes its beer-bellied torso in two with a fierce strike. As the demon's body divides, Toru calmly declares himself just a normal warrior. As the dust settles, Urara tends to Marianta, who is finally waking up from the underground ordeal. Groggy, Marianta asks what happened and recalls being kidnapped. The townspeople gather around, overjoyed that she has returned safely. Just then, Toru arrives with Keed, relieved to see Marianta is all right. After hearing the full story, Marianta asks who saved the town from the terrible creature, wondering if it was her father. Urara answers that Toru and Keed were the heroes who rescued her. Marianta is shocked to hear this. Meanwhile, Urara bows to Toru thanking him for his help, but he modestly asks her not to. Still, the entire town expresses their gratitude, thanking him for saving their star girl. Flustered, Toru struggles to hide his embarrassment. To make matters worse, Marianta jumps on him with her soft plots and thanks him for saving her life and protecting the people of the city. Later on, as they arrive at the Rhoda's grand mansion, Marianta runs to embrace her father, Lord Rhoda, while Keed praises her master for his impressive defeat of one of the Demon Lord's generals. Toru is surprised to know that the ugly tentacled dude with beards is a Demon Lord's general. Just then, Count Rota notices Toru and Keed talking and approaches them. He formally acknowledges Toru as the adventurer who saved his daughter and expresses his deep gratitude, not once but twice, for the heroic rescue mission. Marianta interrupts and asks her father to give Toru a reward. Count Rota considers his daughter's suggestion, but admits he isn't sure what someone like Toru would want as a reward for such heroic deeds. Suddenly, Urara interrupts, saying she has an important message for the Count. After whispering in his ear, Count Rota looks at Toru with surprise. He learns that the enemy Toru defeated is one of the Demon King's top generals. That changes everything, the Count says, then asks Toru if he plans to go to the capital. Toru confirms, and the nobleman replies that he will send a letter right away. He also insists Toru stay for a while so Marianta can show him around the town. Later, inside the house, they enjoy a lavish feast with multiple courses laid out on elegant tables. Marianta savors the gourmet meal and says the food is delicious. While they eat, Toru asks Marianta for permission to explore the underground ruins. Marianta is shocked to hear he wants to return to such a dangerous place. Toru explains that as an adventurer, he has a strange interest in the unexplored ruins. Marianta gets excited and insists she will go with him. Urara and Keed disagree, worried that Marianta might get hurt. But Marianta assures them she won't be a burden and begs to join the expedition. Seeing Marianta so determined, Keed reluctantly agrees. Toru then instructs that Keed and Urara will accompany Marianta to protect her while he takes the lead and removes any obstacles. The following morning, as they prepare to leave the mansion, Marianta apologizes for any delay, dressed in heavy knight armor. When Toru asks why she's wearing such a costume, Marianta explains that her father insisted she wear it for protection. Toru apologizes for going against Count Rota's wishes, but tells her she can't wear such heavy armor in the dungeon. Marianta agrees to change and soon returns wearing a simple overall, which Toru finds much better. With that, they venture into the underground ruins through the proper entrance gates this time. Since they have already explored most of the first and second floors, they decide to go beyond the second floor. Before starting, Toru warns that they will be entering dangerous areas today. However, since Marianta's safety is paramount, only he will enter the most dangerous places. They agree and start the exploration. Suddenly, Keed catches the scent of demons ahead in the ruins and reports this to Toru, who asks her to appraise the threat. Using her appraisal skill, Keed assesses the monsters ahead and realizes there is a huge mushroom-type creature that could pose a significant threat. So they decide to approach the area with extreme caution. As they move closer to the zone, they discover ancient magical vines pulsing with powerful poison. Marianta suggests it's better they stay back, but Toru tells the group to wait while he scouts ahead alone. Keed expresses concern for his safety, but he insists he'll be fine since he's level 300 and also has an antidote. So she asks him to be careful. Marianta grabs his hand, pressing her plumpy apples against it, and insists he does nothing rash. Toru assures her he will be careful, then ventures deeper into the poisonous zone. Suddenly, mushroom creatures emerge from the ground, attacking with spore clouds. Toru faces multiple fungal monsters as they launch coordinated assaults. But he unleashes a massive attack that obliterates all the mushroom monsters instantly. Explosions ripple throughout the chamber as Keed and Marianta watch in amazement. The creatures seem to be guarding something important in this chamber. But Toru finally gains entry to a room that appears to be an abandoned laboratory or workshop. Inside, Toru discovers various magical equipment, mysterious bottles, books, and alchemical apparatus from ancient times. He then finds a bottle with a strange elixir that might prove useful. The girls follow him into the mysterious workshop, eager to see what he has found. Toru excitedly shows them the elixir and a key that opens a secret chest. The girls are impressed, especially Marianta, who grabs Toru's hand excitedly. But Keed, with a hint of jealousy, restrains her from smooching her master. Afterwards, the team moves to the second floor. Using a detailed map of the area, they discover many unexplored sections. Toru explains that this floor used to be an underground fortress hiding dangerous secrets. Marianta then interrupts, asking Toru to teach her how to fight properly. Toru declines, saying he invited her to join but not to fight. Marianta begs, admitting she is tired of feeling weak compared to others. She even tries to convince Keed to help train her. But Urara rushes over, telling Marianta to stop bothering the guest. Marianta then explains to Urara that she wants to become stronger to help her father in the future. Initially hesitant, Urara agrees to train Marianta after seeing how desperate she is. Suddenly, a massive spark of electricity crackles around Toru. Multiple system notifications flood his vision, announcing new title acquisitions. He gains titles such as the Job Thief, Minotaur Slayer, and Dragon Knight. Experience value alerts show he has reached maximum levels and earned several rank increases. Outside, a radiant light pierces the sky, signaling the emergence of Toru's powers. The townspeople see this light and wonder what is happening. One man says it's lightning, but another reminds him that the sky is completely clear. Meanwhile, deep within the underground ruins, massive explosions shake the ground as Toru powers up. Toru, overwhelmed, asks why this has to happen now. Suddenly, multiple system notifications flood his vision across the shattered floor. The notification states that his skills have reached maximum effectiveness and are being upgraded automatically. After the intense power-up, Toru apologizes for scaring them all, explaining that his abilities have changed significantly. He checks his status screen and notices that, although his level remains at 300, several new jobs have been added. Keed studies his stats and is amazed by his multiple high-ranking jobs and superior stats. She examines each job classification closely and gives Toru a detailed description. She explains that the warrior job enhances physical abilities. The Dragon Knight offers mount skills and dragon weakening powers. Master Tamer grants anti-demon skills, and Great Thief provides treasure hunting abilities. When Toru asks about the Imitator job, Keed admits the icon looks blurry, so she can't rate it properly. This causes Toru to wonder if the Imitator job might be a dangerous one. As they prepare to descend to the next level of the underground ruins, Marianta and Urara ask if they can join Toru's party. Insisting, Marianta pleads with Toru to let them become members as long as he's in town. Toru hesitates at first, saying it isn't necessary for them to join, but later agrees, which excites the girls. The team continues their journey, exploring deeper into the ruins. Just then, they encounter gargoyle-like creatures crawling along the temple pillars and corridors. These ugly beasts start attacking from every corner, barring razor-sharp teeth. Marianta almost loses her flawless face to a hungry monster, forcing her to close her eyes in fear. But in that dire moment, Toru intercepts the attack just in time, slashing the creature in two and saves her. Following the attack, Toru warns Marianta never to close her eyes during a fight. Keed, on the other hand, casts an ice spell that launches a devastating ice needle attack, piercing through multiple monsters. Urara isn't left out of the fun as she takes down a gargoyle by twisting its neck like a seasoned assassin. Despite their efforts, the team faces an overwhelming number of gargoyles emerging from every direction. which causes Marianta to panic. But Toru encourages her to be more confident at her current level, and she shouldn't be afraid of her opponents. Instead of panicking, he advises staying calm and following their movements, as that is the only way to defeat the gargoyles. To demonstrate, Toru spots an incoming gargoyle and calmly grabs the monster's hand. He crushes it, then forcefully slams the monster into the rest of the attacking gargoyles, obliterating them instantly. Toru flashes a confident smile and asks Marianta if she can handle the freaky monster alone now. She says yes. The team rallies together, ready to support her. Suddenly, the ruins collapse around them in a massive explosion of debris and dust as the final gargoyle boss arrives. As the massive demon spider-like boss prepares to attack, Marianta wastes no time and leaps into action. The beast shoots laser cobwebs at her, but Marianta dodges with precision and finally strikes the monster with her sword, eliminating it instantly. With the final boss defeated, Marianta celebrates excitedly while Toru congratulates her on taking down the huge monster all by herself. She beams with pride. She also discovers that, thanks to her impressive performance, she has leveled up to 36. Urara mentions that she started at level 50 but is now level 70. The girls get hyped to keep going, but Toru warns them not to be too hasty. Meanwhile, Keed suggests they head back to the surface. Toru thinks about it and agrees she's right. When he asks Marianta and Urara if they're ready to leave, the girls insist on exploring the unexplored areas. To please them, Toru agrees, and together they venture deeper through narrow stone corridors. Suddenly, Toru announces they've reached a dead end as a massive sealed wall blocks their path. As Toru examines the mysterious wall more closely, he finds it kind of strange. He places his hand on the wall and starts to get the feeling that it's more of a demarcation than a dead end. Toru gives the wall a hard knock and it begins to crumble. Using his hand, he draws a deep circle on the wall and it opens. Stepping inside, Toru discovers a hidden room. There he finds a sword and is amazed that the ancient weapon shows no trace of rust, even though it was made long ago. While staring at the incredible sword, Keed calls his attention to her own discovery. Keed shows Toru two mysterious objects on display and says she thinks they are eggs. To be certain, she decides to appraise them. After the appraisal, she speculates that the objects are summoned beasts. Keed explains that summoned beasts are artificial creatures created by an ancient race. They were mainly used to assist with daily tasks and could provide support during combat, depending on the creature type. For now, they have been stored for long-term survival, but can be awakened by pouring magical power into them to activate their dormant systems. Toru finds this interesting and declares he wants to try awakening one. As he grabs one of the eggs, it starts to emit a bright light as Toru imbues it with enough magical power. Realizing nothing is happening, Keed informs Toru that the egg has been dormant for a very long time. With that in mind, Toru decides to take it more seriously and pours even more magical energy into the egg. The ancient chamber fills with magical power and steam as the girls watch in awe at the overwhelming energy. Space seems to distort, and it feels like they're standing on water. As the egg starts to glow, Toru senses it's ready. He uses his blade to draw some blood to properly activate the contract. When a drop of his blood touches the mystical egg, it immediately hatches. Toru and Keed stare in wonder as the creature inside begins to emerge. When the creature finally breaks free, they're shocked to discover it's actually a fluffy, cuddly beast with a single large eye that makes cute sounds. Toru wonders what kind of monster the creature is, but to Keed, the adorable beast looks pretty cute. Suddenly, the fluffy creature makes soft sounds and floats up, picking Keed up. Toru is stunned to see that it can carry people despite its size and structure. He reasons it's perfect for transport, while Keed suggests they give the creature a name. After a brief moment of thought, Toru excitedly suggests calling it Panda, and Keed agrees, saying it's a beautiful name. Marianta also comments on how lovely the creature is, and the girls crowd around Panda, clearly liking it. Before leaving the underground that day, Toru takes the second strangely shaped egg, eager to find out what's inside. Later that evening at the mansion, Toru and Keed examine the various bottles of medicines and elixirs brought from the underground. Just then, Rhoda enters and is shocked to see the rare elixirs. Stunned, he explains that it's an ultra-rare elixir he's never seen before. He notes it isn't commonly sold and suggests they sell it at an auction. The old man points out there's an auction in the royal capital meant for nobility and rich merchants, and recommends they go there. Toru considers the suggestion as bundles of cash appear before them. Count Rhoda then reveals that the massive payment of 500 million coins is for the relics he bought from Toru. The next morning brings another lovely day for their adventure. Toru notes it's been a few days since they arrived at the mansion, and they've spent the last couple of days exploring ruins and hunting demons. With that, Toru decides it's the perfect day to continue their journey forward. Thanks to their time at the mansion, Marianta is now level 100, and Urara is at level 80, giving both girls the power of heroes. As Toru walks outside the mansion, Keed cheerfully greets her master while carrying Panda, who floats alongside her. Together, they leave the mansion to continue their journey. Outside, they meet Marianta and Urara, who are ready to say their goodbyes. Marianta asks Toru if he's really going to leave today. Toru replies that he would have loved to stay, but recalling a flashback of Lisa and Sane together, he reflects that there's still a hole in his heart, and that's why he has to go. He also mentions receiving a letter from the Count, and that he must attend the auction in the capital. Marianta sadly admits she's very jealous of Keed. She says if it were possible, she'd want to leave home and see the world. Gazing toward the distant landscape, she expresses her desire for adventure and the fun that comes with it. While watching Marianta smile, longing for adventure, Toru understands that she is the daughter of a noble family and will have to marry sooner or later. She won't be able to choose who she marries and will be sheltered, like a bird in a cage, until her time comes. At the mansion entrance, Toru thanks Marianta and her father for everything. In turn, Count Rota expresses his gratitude, saying it's all thanks to Toru that his daughter is alive. Nearby, Urara and Marianta stand quietly, both looking emotional about the departure. Toru promises they'll meet again and tells them not to be sad, but Marianta feels overwhelmed with sadness just thinking about Toru and Keed leaving. To cheer her up, Keed hugs her and reassures her they won't forget her, promising they'll come to see them again. Hearing this, Marianta cheers up, though she admits she's really jealous of Keed. Standing before the grand mansion with everyone gathered, Toru and Keed bid farewell as they prepare to begin their next adventure. The Count and his household watch as they walk down the beautiful garden pathway, leaving the mansion behind. Meanwhile, in the city of Luntata, Sane and his companions are shocked to discover something terrible. Looking at the massive crater where the dungeon once stood, Sane wonders in disbelief where the dungeon has gone. A man passing by informs him that the dungeon disappeared a while ago. Also, Sane recalls that a dude earlier had told him someone reached the dungeon and completed it before them. Realizing the truth, Sane bites his finger in anger, declaring it was all a waste of time since this dungeon was where he planned to make his debut as a hero. Sora tries to calm him down, but Sane unleashes his frustration on her. He grabs her by the neck, choking her, and demands the hag not touch him. The confrontation escalates quickly as Nee and Lisa try to intervene, telling Sane to stop. Still, the maniac continues choking her while the girls warn that Sora will die if he doesn't let go. When he finally releases her, a crowd has gathered, labeling him a horrible man and suggesting they call the soldiers. Sane realizes this bad public image isn't befitting a hero. Looking at the girls, he knows mistreating 3 women will ruin his reputation. He wonders if the effects of his brainwashing are wearing off. Desperate to regain control, Sane activates his demonic eye power again, and the terrifying force instantly takes hold of the girls. Regaining control of them, Sane angrily orders his manipulated party to follow him, and they obey instantly. Later, Sane and his brainwashed girls sit among ancient stone ruins, contemplating their next move. Lisa suggests it would be better to return to their country and start fresh with a new route. When Sane asks why, she explains that since their whole plan depends on him obtaining the sacred sword and they keep failing, it won't be safe to continue the fruitless mission. Sane thinks about Lisa's suggestion and admits she is right, but he still refuses to accept defeat, insisting he won't endure that shame. Looking at a detailed map, Sane explains that there are still other sacred swords on the road to the city of Armand, and all he has to do is get one. Meanwhile, Nee mentions there might be some great unexplored ruins in Einarch and suggests they could go there, find treasure, and make their debut as heroes. The group considers this new plan as their next opportunity, and Sane agrees, declaring they should do it. The party decides to pursue this alternative route, which leads them to Count Rota's mansion. There, Count Rota delivers disappointing news. The ruins have already been explored, and there's nothing left worth searching for. Shocked, Sane desperately asks who explored the dungeon, and Rota tells him it was the Maniou Brigade. Just then, Marianta walks into the conversation to see her father's guests. The moment Sane lays eyes on her, the simp notices how beautiful she is and loses control. He stares at her humongous milkers and starts drooling like a pig, wishing he could make her his. To make that happen, Sane activates his demonic eyes of seduction, aiming to brainwash Marianta. But suddenly, something unexpected happens. His powerful mind control magic meets strong resistance, and he starts bleeding from the eyes. A system notification appears, announcing that since the target's level is higher than the owner of the magic eye, it cannot take effect. Realizing the stranger has evil intentions toward her, Marianta wastes no time drawing her blade to his neck and demands to know what the heck he just did to her. Sane becomes terrified for his life and opens his mouth to speak, but can't form a comprehensible sentence. Count Rota calmly observes the situation and then tells Sane that, although he claims to be the hero, God supports those who have earned it through hard work. Confused, Sane desperately asks if the Count means that this adventurer might be more favored by divine powers than he is. The Count replies that it's hard to say, but one thing is sure. The hero had the strength to make everyone believe and the purity of heart. With that, Count Rota tells the false hero he no longer has anything to do there and orders him to leave his mansion before he gets hurt. Enraged by the humiliation, once outside the mansion, Sane screams angrily that nothing seems to be working, even though he is the hero. Lisa still believes they should return to their country, but Sane refuses, saying he won't leave behind the sacred sword. Determined to prove himself, Sane declares they are going to Arman for the sacred sword and orders the girls to follow him. He angrily vows to get the sword and become the man he once was, the perfect man who had everything under control. Meanwhile, in the deep forest, Keed unleashes her devastating icicle rain attack on a group of wyverns. Toro calls for his new pet, Rasuk, to join the fight as massive explosions rock the battlefield. The snake-like beast moves with precision and lightning speed, impaling the attacking dragons and finishing them off. After such an impressive performance, Toro commends his new pet for a job well done. With the battle over, Keed admits she can't believe there's actually a beast inside the second egg. Toro replies that Rasuk looks more like a fighter compared to their fluffy friend Panda, and is surprised to see just how powerful these summoned creatures truly are. Suddenly, Toro notices Keed talking to Panda and asks if she can understand what the creature is saying. She admits she doesn't know how to explain it, but somehow she can comprehend the creature's communication. Toro also notices that both beasts are talking to each other. As they set up camp, Toro complains of hunger and suggests they prepare food. Keed agrees and eagerly volunteers to cook this time. Toro is clueless when she actually learned to cook, but reluctantly agrees to let her handle it. Keed seems thrilled at the opportunity to cook for her master. She even puts on an apron and asks Toro what he thinks of how it looks on her. Toro admits it's nice, but wonders if the food she's about to prepare will be just as good. Keed begins preparing an elaborate meal, starting with disemboweling the devil bullfrog they caught. The outdoor cooking adventure continues with Keed adding various ingredients, some living water drake for seasoning, plus scutleria for the soup base. Keed demonstrates impressive cooking knowledge as she works, carefully placing everything into the pot. However, as the cooking progresses, things take an unexpected turn. The mixture bubbles and the color changes dramatically to purple. With the food ready, the moment of truth arrives as Toro prepares to taste Keed's cooking experiment. As she serves her master her special delicacy, Toro stares in horror at the questionable food. He starts sweating bullets, knowing he's about to eat a disgusting nightmare. Summoning his courage, Toro closes his eyes and takes a bite. But his eyes widen when he realizes the food isn't bad at all. In fact, it's actually good. Keed gets excited that her master loves her cooking and hugs him. Grateful, she promises to do everything to help him, and Toro thanks her. Lost in the moment, Toro pats her on the tail, which makes Keed feel an intense rush of emotions. She then kneels before him and with a seductive look calls him Master. Toro freezes in shock, noticing how turned on his slave girl is, and is unable to move. He starts imagining Lisa taunting him for buying a slave girl to satisfy his pleasure because she dumped him. Toro panics and quickly snaps out of it, saying he'll eat some more food. As Keed happily moves to get him more, Toro sighs in relief that he didn't give in to his instincts. Even though he reasons that Keed would probably be okay with the 50 Shades of Grey vibe, Toro resolves he's not going to treat her like an object for his pleasure. Suddenly, Keed alerts Toro to danger nearby. They're being attacked by another group of menacing wyverns. Toro speculates it's probably because of the smell of Keed's disgusting food. Keed points out that this group of wyverns is actually bigger than the last, but Toro is confident Rasuk can take them down. With that, he unleashes Rasuk on the wyverns. The beast doesn't hesitate and quickly takes down the big foes with tremendous stabbing force. Before long, Toro and Keed arrive in Arman, the city capital, for the auction. Since there are many famous sites to visit, Keed mentions she's looking forward to seeing them. However, Toro points out they need to deliver the letter Count Rhoda asked them to. The letter is meant for a man named Jonathan, who runs a shipping business and is well known in the royal capital. While searching for Jonathan, they suddenly hear people screaming about a beast attached to a carriage that's on a rampage. A group of hero wannabes immediately spring into action, chasing after the beast and shouting at Toro and Keed to get out of the way. The scarecrow-looking twins step in front of the incoming beast, ready to play heroes. These ugly-looking twins are famous adventurers called the Saul brothers, and the crowd cheers, relieved they are saved. The Saul brothers mock Toro, calling him a weakling for relying on the protection of a female slave. This pisses Keed off, and she moves to freeze the idiotic brothers, but Toro asks her to let it go. At that moment, the beast charges at the Saul brothers, who try to stop it with all their might. At first, it seems like they've succeeded, and they smile smugly. But to their shock, the ferocious beast sends them flying and continues charging uncontrollably toward the village. The beast is about to run over a mother and her child, but Toro steps in front and using his impressive tamming powers stops the monster. The villagers are in utter shock, unable to believe what they're seeing. Before their eyes, Toro pets the monstrous beast and calls it a good boy. Just then, a bald merchant riding in the carriage approaches Toro and thanks him for saving his life. Toro brushes off the thanks and asks the merchant if he knows anyone named Jonathan. Shortly afterward, inside a castle, A man with a mustache introduces himself as Jonathan and asks for the letter from Count Rhoda. Toru hands over the letter, and after reading it, Jonathan promises to carry out the Count's request. When Toru asks what the request is, Jonathan says he can't tell him yet and asks Toru to come back the next day. He promises to reveal the request then, but advises Toru to dress more presentably, leaving Toru confused about what the request might be. What surprises awaits Toru in the capital? Comment Betrayed Warrior if you're hyped to see what happens next in Part 2. If you enjoyed this video, drop a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. Thanks for watching, as always.